Warning. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect that of the HHN TV or its constituent entities. Furthermore, some parents may not find this content suitable for children as it contains explicit language and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, everybody. I'm Drew Duncan. The show's fired up, and we are live. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. I am wherever you are listening to podcasts. Tell your device to play Fired Up by Drew Duncan, iTunes, iHeart. Wherever you're listening, I am there. In addition, you can find me on WBFR, Block 50 Radio, block50radio.com, 24/7, 365. You can download the HHN TV app, a.k.a. the Hip Hop Network. Plenty to get to today. We're going to be talking about Ray Gunn. We're going to be talking about Dak Prescott. We're going to be talking about Justin Simmons. We're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to be talking about Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will Howard to start for Ohio State. Plenty to get to today. Our MMA insider, Austin Ford, will not be joining us today. Had a last-minute event come up. So in the meantime, Ray Gunn has called all the hate online, quote, devastating. And she's actually gone as so far as to say, look, can everybody please just stop? Now, look, man, I'm not going to pretend that I have not had a good chuckle, because I have. And I'm not going to say that sometimes people online, people talking about stuff, do not take it too far, because everybody's guilty of it, including myself. But I guess for me, first of all, how the hell did this become a sport to begin with? Why was this received as an opportunity? And here's the thing. Isn't this person like a dance instructor or something? Back in, what are they from, Australia? And it makes me wonder what the standard in Australia is for allowing people in. Now, it could have just been a really bad showing. You know, nerves get the better of you. Everybody's entitled to a bad day. But when you are literally awarded 0 points, yeah. Look, man, you have to be prepared for criticism. I mean, it is the Olympics. And everything that's in the Olympics is considered the best in the world, is it not? So for anybody who's upset or telling people to stop, when you put yourself out there, you got to be ready for the backlash too. I get backlash all the time, man. I constantly, there are things that people have said to me in my DMs. Hell, there are things that people have said to me in the comment section because of my sports opinion that I cannot even begin to try and repeat online. Can't even do it. I would get banned from all of radio. All of radio. The FCC would come roaring down on top of me if I began to repeat some of the stuff that I have been told. When you put yourself out there doing anything, not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to say, good try. Not everybody's going to say, well, you did the best that you could. Because you are literally, now hear me out. You are literally on a world stage where, and get this, you are being judged by a point system. Now imagine that. Imagine people judging you and then mad for people judging you. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, Slick. I'm sorry. I'm not. It's not that I don't feel bad for her, because I do. Look, man, I know what it's like. I know what it's like to put yourself out there and seemingly nobody get your back. And nobody gets that more than I do. But here's the thing. They're not even doing breakdancing in 2028 now. They're saying to hell with that. Can you imagine what would have happened if somebody had that horrific of a performance and it was in LA? And we're talking about for breakdancing? Come on, man. I have seen some memes out there that are a little too far. And I'm not going to lie and say that they're not. Have I ever had an entire world making jokes out of me on the internet, making memes out of me on the internet? No, I've never had that. So I guess in some ways maybe I can't relate. But I think that this is going to be something that blows smooth over. It is. It's the flavor of the week. Come Monday, it'll be something else. It's not inherently her fault that breakdancing is not being done. I just think people looked and went, we shouldn't be doing this. But then again, there's a lot of things that to me people should not be doing. Race walking, come on. All right. So Will Howard, the Kansas State transfer, he has been officially named as the starter at Ohio State. Look, Deuce Vaughn carried that football team while he was there. There were plenty of injuries. Don't get me wrong, Will Howard did okay, but I just really wasn't all that impressed. Predicated upon how many games he played, the amount of turnovers, especially when he had turnovers. Now, and again, and I maintain this, it's 2 years anyways, which I don't think he's going to be 2 years at Ohio State. I will say this. For the people that don't like the transfer portal and the coaches that have a very hard time with it and how, quote, out of control, end quote, it is to a lot of people, here's the one aspect where I will say that I understand, is the constant bringing somebody in, having a short amount of time, and having to get them ready. It was Kurt Warner who was complaining and saying that everybody at the collegiate level is doing all the same style anyway. How is that all going to translate to the NFL? Well, if there's going to be a reason for that, it is going to be because of this. Because really, when you think about it, you either have to get somebody who's running a similar style, or you have to really simplify the playbook. How are you going to open it up? You know, they talk about the difference all the time between the NFL and college. You know, in college, and really in high school for the most part, it's, you know, you're going to tell the offensive line whether it's a run-pass assignment. You're going to tell your running back what kind of run or pass assignment it is, and then you're going to tell your receiver what kind of run-pass assignment it is. It's extremely simplified, where in the NFL, the terminology expands, and it's more than just run-pass assignments. With the transfer portal and the way things are with the NIL, this is the one thing that I could say, like, this is an issue if you're a coach. But you could also say this is when we find out who the truly great coaches really are. You take an Urban Meyer, for example. We're not talking about his personal life. We are talking about Urban Meyer, the football coach. Urban Meyer, the football coach, went undefeated at Utah. Urban Meyer, the football coach, turned around Florida, got them back on track, won a championship. 2, as a matter of fact. Urban Meyer goes to Ohio State. None of those players are his. They have been banned from playing in the postseason, still convinces that group of kids to go undefeated. Ends up winning a championship at Ohio State. But you know, Urban Meyers are not on every street corner. They're not. This is what Brian Kelly is afraid of. All these coaches that are against this is exactly what they are nervous about. I can tell you that right now. Now, I know that Deuce Vaughn, before anybody starts hooting and hollering at me, goes, well, he was already in the NFL last season. Well, and how good was Kansas State without him? I'm just saying that I don't know that I'm the biggest believer that Ohio State has improved at the quarterback position. Don't get me wrong. Where they were a season ago, they didn't keeping him leaving. To me, you got to run a very specific offense, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. was making him look a lot better than he really was. And me being a huge Syracuse fan, I'm telling you right now, there have been no favors done. We haven't improved at the quarterback position. You got to run a tailor-made offense. You got to run, to me, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, running back behind you. 90% of what you're doing is out of the pistol, and you got to keep that offense real simple. You want to work the middle of the football field. You want to grind out plays. Traditional option plays, absolutely, you'd be phenomenal at. But in terms of being able to really open it up, spread it out, and push the football down the field, it's not going to happen. I will say this, with Will Howard, you get a better arm. You don't get better accuracy, but you get a better strength of arm, I should say. So I personally don't see it. I think Ohio State's really going to be carried by that defense this year. If the run game is solid, they could win 10, 11 games, sneaking in the playoff. Let's be clear. You don't have to go undefeated anymore to get into the college football playoff. And I think that's going to take a lot of pressure off of a lot of teams. But don't bank on some drama still not happening, because I promise you it will. So Dak Prescott says, talks are going the right way. Yeah, that's cool, bro. Look, I don't think the Dallas Cowboys need to do anything until they pay CeeDee Lamb. He said that he had heard, whether it's going to be sooner than later or whatever the case may be, it looks like everything's going to go well. All this that Dak Prescott would go somewhere else and get a major payday, I don't see it, my man. Brody's a backup. I don't know who the hell thinks that Dak Prescott's a starter in the NFL other than Jerry Jones. But then again, the stupid amount that Kirk Cousins continues to get for doing very little in terms of the playoffs, well, look, and I've said it a million times, there can only be one winner, right, at the end of the season. It's just the way that it is. It's fine, Daddy-O. Here's the problem, though. How many times have they been there? How many chances has Dak had? And Jerry Jones is about as delusional as somebody in the desert who's dehydrated. Just looking at a mirage. To me, that is what Dak Prescott is. He is a mirage. And he's a really nice guy. I've said it over and over again. He's a really nice guy. But it doesn't mean he's a great quarterback, bro. He's gone through a lot of hell in his life. Doesn't mean he's a great quarterback. Chance after chance after chance. Extension after extension. It's just not worth the payday anymore, man. If anything, I would make him take less money until he wins a playoff game. Hell, I might say, dude, get us to the NFC Championship game before I really dole out some more money. I got other guys here that are doing things. I got Micah Parsons. I got a lot of other stuff going on right now. We're not talking. I get it. This is your final year. And look, I commend Dak because there's a lot of people who get mad at other players who do holdouts and whatnot, but Dak takes the approach of, I'm going to show up and I'm going to prove I want to be here, which is great. That's him. That's, whatever the hell he wants to do. But that's not everybody else, okay? I think he needs to take a pay cut. Seriously. The Atlanta Falcons. Well, they are really beefing up that defense, aren't they? And I think they understand why they're doing it. First of all, they get Justin Simmons. So, P-Dub, there you go. You want a defensive back? You got one in Justin Simmons, Brody. Then you got Matthew Judon, the linebacker, right? Couldn't come to terms with the New England Patriots. The Falcons literally went and opened up cap space just so that way they could get him. To me, the Atlanta Falcons have made, pretty much for the most part, the biggest offseason moves. You get a new head football coach. You get Justin Simmons. You get Matthew Judon. You get Kirk Cousins. You draft Michael Penix Jr. You want to talk about win now. But here's the thing. It doesn't mean that I'm convinced, right? We see this all the time where football teams go when they spend a crazy amount of money during the offseason. Right? A few years ago, it was the New York Jets. Spent the second most amount of money in the offseason of any football team in history of the NFL. Didn't mean jack. So you could spend all the money that you want to, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to put it all together. Now, bringing in a new head football coach, maybe. Clearly he's proven himself defensively. Can he put the right pieces together, though, for the offense to make it work? And look, the way that the Atlanta Falcons are set up, I will say this. With Bijan Robinson and that run game, if you want something that is tailor-made for where Kirk Cousins really thrives, and that is off of play action, then he is best suited for what is going on right now in Atlanta. The direction that they are going. Now, to P's point, they don't have a true number one wide receiver, but sometimes it works out that way when you don't have a true number one. You just spread the ball out. Nobody's going to key in on any one person. And so it's going to open up the playbook, because when people are keyed in on the run game, everybody in the NFL is fast, man. I don't know if people know this or not, but everybody in the NFL is fast. Over their heads they go. Now, the main thing, obviously, for Kirk Cousins is going to be how healthy is he? We've seen him on more than one occasion have season-ending injuries, significant injuries. So that begs the question, how long does Michael Penix Jr. really have to potentially learn not just the offense, but the guys in the locker room, the coaching staff, get to know all of them, really learn how to play that position in the NFL? How long is he going to have to get acclimated with everybody in the locker room? How many reps is he truly going to get in with the number ones? All those things. I mean, to me, that's going to be the big thing, right? I will say this. I like the direction that the Atlanta Falcons are going. There's just, they haven't really, to me, been a bad football team over the last couple of years. Just something has been missing. And it's kind of one of those things where you watch Atlanta, and I don't know that you're able to quite put your finger on it. Like, there's really good potential there, right? You start with the quarterback and you go, man, maybe if we had a better quarterback. And we're not even talking about great quarterback. We're just talking about better quarterback. Because I think that was Marcus Mariota's last shot. I said that before, and I mean, that's exactly what it turned into. That was his last chance. Ritter, I never really thought he was going to be great in the NFL. Is what it is. I think it's a little bizarre to sign somebody, what was it, 4 years? And draft a quarterback that high in the NFL. I mean, at first my thing was, he's probably there just to keep Kirk Cousins in check. Let him mind the fence a little bit. Simply put, we'll see what happens. I like the defense right now with the Atlanta Falcons. I said a season ago the defense really wasn't the problem. They need to be improving how often they get Bijan Robinson involved. Now, there were reports from a season ago that suggested he didn't play because he was faking some injuries, literally. Because the NFL started to investigate some things, and they were going, he's not showing up to the press conference. Why isn't he there? Well, he was on the sideline. We didn't get notice of an injury. What the hell's going on? So there's been some of that. Now, I can't say definitively what it is because by last read, nothing has come out just yet. But if he cleans that up from what we're hearing, could be one of the best running backs in the NFL. Look, again, for my money, Nick Chubb, number 1 running back in all the NFL. Or number 2 running back in all the NFL, pardon me. Christian McCaffrey, number 1. Breece Hall, absolute gangster. Derrick Henry. You could put Bijan Robinson right in there already. We'll see what happens. Obviously, too early to tell. Haven't even had a regular season game yet, but did anybody see this? Coach McVay is not even going to be coaching. Now, if anybody thinks that I'm going to be critical of Aaron Rodgers and then let McVay get a pass, you got to be smoking the good shit. Hell no, as a matter of fact. Oh, I just want to let, some other guys get some coaching experience and get some coaching reps in. What? When did that become a thing? I don't give a damn if you like the preseason or not. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know. I just think that without the preseason, there are too many athletes that we would never truly discover. And there's plenty of proof to back that up. Jacoby Myers, Terrell Davis, Isaiah Likely. I could go on and on and on. People who say the preseason doesn't matter, yes, it does. Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't matter, man. It's not real football. It's not real reps. Okay, you're right, dude. You're right, superstar. Who needs to worry about getting your timing down with snaps in a real game situation? That doesn't matter. I don't know that I could be a coach in today's NFL. I don't know. Somebody like Aaron Rodgers wants to be on my football team, I'm going to tell him no. I'm going to get fired. They're going to go, what are you, crazy? No, I'm not letting this guy come down here and just walk all over us. I couldn't be a GM right now. McVay's not going to coach in a preseason game. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs, their guys, they're going to be starting for an entire first half. One guess as to who's been basically the premier team over the last 5 to 6 years in the NFL. Is it the team that takes the preseason just as serious as they do the regular season? Tom Brady didn't skip out. Is it the team that goes, yeah, you know what, we could really use those reps, man? Is it the team that goes, we're going to run some of the stuff that we do in the regular season. We want to get our cadence down. We want to feel it live. We want to get some pops in there. We want to get some hits. We want it to be live, my man, as live can get. Has anybody figured out who to most the favorite to win the Super Bowl would be this year? And I know somebody's going to go, well, they got number 15. Well, look at how number 15 is treating the preseason. So maybe it's not that I'm too old school. Maybe that ain't got nothing to do with it. Look, I can appreciate where people are coming from when they say the preseason doesn't really matter. It's not real football. It's not real football in the sense that the wins and losses don't count. It's not real football in the sense that those stats are kept track of. Look, I get that. And I can understand where somebody's coming from where they go, look, man, I really just don't want to risk anything. I'm okay with that. All right? I'm not sitting around debating on whether or not there's no risk. By and large, though, we've seen so many injuries that happen before the year even begins that to sit around and say, well, it's the preseason ain't got nothing to do with it. Injuries are a built-in part of the game, whether we like it or not. Football is a physical game. You can't get around whether or not somebody's going to get hurt. It's going to happen. And for my money, if the defending Super Bowl champions are taking it seriously, then why in the hell wouldn't anybody else? Now, Andy Reid has made some bonehead coaching moves over the years. And sure, there's a really good chance that this could all backfire come Monday. But for the most part, the point of what I'm getting at is one team is taking it seriously, and then you have Aaron Rodgers. What's he done? I mean, seriously, think about it. In recent years, what has he really done? He's put up some numbers. He's had some good seasons, but what's he done in the playoffs? Eli Manning destroyed him in his backyard. I'm just saying. Speaking of guys getting in reps, Russell Wilson's going to be starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up. I'm really interested to see it just because I want to see if Russ has anything left in the tank. I really do. Now, I don't anticipate him being out there for longer than maybe a quarter. But I want to see what he looks like in this offense because I think it's going to be an offense that he can really thrive in. I think they're going to be able to open some things up because of him and Justin Fields. And for anybody saying that Russell Wilson doesn't have wheels anymore, apparently you weren't watching a lot of Denver Bronco football season ago because they were running straight up option plays and he was doing just fine. Just fine. So for anybody saying that he doesn't have wheels, I would encourage you to go look at some rushing plays from Russ Wilson a season ago. Now, did he put up astronomical stats running the football? No. But the point of what I'm saying is he didn't look bad doing it. He still showed off some moves, pimping. So if anybody wants to say that he ain't got it, I'm just going to tell you right now that you're wrong. In fact, you're so wrong, you don't even know how wrong that you are. Look, there is a lot of debate right now about whether or not Mike Tomlin is actually going to have a job at the end of this season. There is a lot of debate right now about whether or not Justin Fields is going to end up starting for this football team before the year is over. People are saying that this looks like, on the surface, it is the toughest schedule in all the NFL. That this will be the first year that Mike Tomlin has a losing season. People are saying that Russ doesn't have it anymore. that he's not a man. And look, I'll be the first to tell you that I was upset because I felt like Russ played with literally no emotion while he was in Denver. None whatsoever. But I think that the evaluation of Russell Wilson while he was in Denver was completely unfair. Go watch snaps in the shotgun when Russell Wilson literally, before the ball even got to him, somebody was in his face. The reality is bad coaching decisions. Nathaniel Hackett, without Aaron Rodgers as his boy, has no idea what he's doing. Same thing goes for, I mean, come on, man. What did Peyton do last year, really? You let Miami drop how many on you? And by the way, they could have probably racked up 100 if they wanted. They took it easy in the fourth quarter. The threats, the poor play calling, the garbage offensive line, the fumbles from Courtland Sutton and everybody else. Nah. So if you're asking me if I still think Russ has it, absolutely. If you think that I think that Mike Tomlin will get fired at the end of this year, I'm saying no. Because number one, I think they're going to have a winning season. And number two, if Mike Tomlin was winning football games a season ago with the QB room that he had, what in the absolute hell makes you think that suddenly the Pittsburgh Steelers got worse with Russell Wilson? You're going to tell me you don't think that they got better? That's weird, bro. There's a reason why nobody is a starter right now that was in that QB room from a season ago. Nobody's a starter. Let that sink in. And if you could get Russell Wilson for the price that you got him, tell me you wouldn't do that. What'd they pay out? $1.12 million? Somewhere in that neighborhood. Denver had to take on the other 38. Come on, man. You think Mike Tomlin doesn't hear the rumors? You think Mike Tomlin doesn't hear the BS? You guys are about to find out real quick. And as far as Justin Fields go, he's only going to get in there if Russ is hurt or it's the fourth quarter and Pittsburgh's winning. And there's no doubt about it, and they don't want to risk injury, risk Russ getting hurt. And that is all there is to that. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. In fact, I've been saying it for years. Pittsburgh fan, stop bitching. You will find out that you can do a lot worse than Mike Tomlin. You don't believe me? Go ahead and go ask Texas Longhorn fan about how they thought they could do so much better than Mac Brown. Look how long it took for them to recover from that. Over a decade. A decade plus. You will learn the hard way that finding a good coach is a lot more difficult than you think. They are not hanging around every street corner. Man, I'm sick of just going to the playoffs. Look, man, some things take time. You got to get the right pieces. He did what you wanted him to do a season ago. He fired the offensive coordinator. It's not that he's not hearing you, but it's his team. And believe me when I tell you, if you fire him, you will find out within a season that you screwed the fuck up. I'm telling you that right now. If you were willing to put up with basically the same stuff from Bill Cowher, then you better be willing to put up with it with Mike Tomlin. The Pittsburgh Steelers are traditionally an organization that sticks it out. As you should. There's no reason to be bouncing around coaches every 2 or 3 seasons. Ask the Chicago Bears how well that's working out for them. Ask the Cleveland Browns how well that's been working out for them. We're just changing all the time. It doesn't help. All right, everybody, I am Drew Duncan. The show's fired up, and we are live. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. I am wherever you're listening to podcasts. Take a device to play Fired Up by Drew Duncan, iTunes, iHeart. Wherever you are listening, I am there. Download the HHN TV app, the Hip Hop Network TV. You can find me there. You can check me out Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 on WBFR Radio, Block 50 Radio. Block50radio.com is up 24/7, 365. Everybody stay safe. Have a wonderful weekend. Your local programming is next. Don't you dare touch that dial.